Welcome back to another episode of Cobra Kai Companion. I'm Peter.
I'm Brianna.
And you guys, we have another interview returning for her third time, Vanessa Rubio, who plays Carmen. Hey, Vanessa.
Hey,
You look
nice to be here with you guys,
gorgeous.
Peter and Brianna. Thank you.
Yeah, finally nice to see you face to face. The last, two times you've been on has been audio, so this is very pleasant for me.
Yes.
Anyway, how have you been? 2020 started off, started off bad for a lot of people, but especially for you. I think kind of a little known thing unless people really follow you. What, health wise, last year.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, 2020, we all marched into 2020 like, this is going to be a great year. And then I was like, oh my God. I did end up getting sick with COVID around late March. I was in New York at the time, and basically half of my building got it. We all admitted it to each other later in the year, which was kind of funny. But yeah, it wasn't pleasant to get, but thankfully I got rid of it in like 2 weeks just on my own. And so I'm here, but it really did give me a lot of gratitude for my body, my health, and being able to do what I love, which is acting. So.
Was that any sort of eye opener that you're gonna kind of take yourself, kind of take more safety precautions or anything? How did that affect you and impact your life?
Yeah, I guess so. I kind of went through, I guess, all the motions that we all collectively were going through, confronting fear and, how to navigate this new system. But it did really give me impetus to make moves. I moved to California last year. I was a little hesitant and scared to move during the pandemic. But I was like, you know what? If I learned anything from being sick with it, it's like you just got to take every day as it is and make those moves that you want to make, no matter how hard it is, because, you might be stuck in bed and not be able to do it. And we all know that sucks,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that leads actually into my question. Your Instagram, especially since you've been sick, is one of the most peaceful, inspirational, spiritual Instagrams I follow. And it's I love it when you post because you're so positive. And I was just wondering, are you a spiritualist? Do you consider yourself a spiritualist, or is there a particular school of thought that you follow?
I don't know exactly what a spiritualist is, but I am spiritual, yeah. For sure. I just kind of go with my own guidance system, and I often do this. I place my hand over my heart to center and be in the moment. I just try to I guess be guided in the moment and not think about it too much, because I think if we talk about it, we put ourselves in a box. So I just kind of try to be true and be positive and I guess enable movement, because I've definitely experienced where I'm like, if I'm not moving or I'm not, working with my energies, I get stagnant and then I get all confused. So, I just try to keep it positive. I love doing meditation. Meditation really helped last year a lot. I'm definitely into crystals. I bring them with me to set all the time. Epsom salt baths. Yeah, I guess it's kind of like a journey of taking care of one's own system and able to show up as your best self. And what else? I do love Kundalini Yoga. I haven't done it in a while, but I do know that is a practice that I love.
That is
I think
amazing.
well, what's also amazing, Vanessa, is that Brianna is Instagram is very foreign to her. So for her to even find your account and look at your stuff, I think it's amazing in itself. Now, obviously, the move from YouTube to Netflix has been huge. We've seen you everywhere: EW, Nocturnal, just a variety of news outlet. Can you share that experience and what it's been like, just going on all these interviews, but also share the experience with speaking with Mario Lopez?
Oh my God, I totally fangirled on Mario Lopez. Yeah, I just wanted to, again, like, I knew season 3 was coming out, and I was navigating these new waters of being in the public eye, you know. So I was like, okay, I need some help with this. So I hired a really great team to help me out, and just to be able to, like, I saw it as like surfing, you know, even though I'm not a surfer. I was just like, I just gotta ride this wave out and be there, you know, be accessible. So we did a lot of really great interviews. And Peter, you know, you've been, you know, following the show since it was on YouTube, so you know, like, how it has grown and how different it's taken on these new forms. So yeah, doing all those interviews was really a lot of fun, very new for me, but I was like, okay, I can learn how to do this. Let's go. And of course, I called it like the Mario Lopez day when they told me that I was going to be interviewed by Mario Lopez. I was like, oh, be still my heart. I grew up on Saved by the Bell, so I had to get that out of the way
Yeah.
to actually do the interview, you know.
Oh.
I know.
I could not imagine. I get that feeling. The one time we were lucky enough to talk to Ralph, I was like muted half the time because I couldn't breathe. I was like completely speechless. It just, yeah, when your childhood crush is right in front of you talking to you, it's like, oh my God, no, this is not right. This should not be happening right now.
Yeah. You just have to, like, admit it at first. You're like, I am incredibly nervous. Okay.
Completely off topic question. I am so glad to be able to talk to you because I have wondered this since the first time I saw you on Cobra Kai. Do you do anything special with your hair? Because I have that massive curls and I cannot control them. I've tried curly girl method, but it doesn't work. So what do you do with them? How do you make them look like that?
She was late to our meetup in Atlanta because of her hair.
I was. I probably. Yeah.
No, Brianna.
Yeah, I
Okay.
was too.
Like,
Yeah.
yes. No, curly hair is another level.
Struggle.
Yeah, it's like we show up with the curls, and you just don't know. It took us like an hour and a half, 2 hours to do it.
Right.
Yeah, it's a thing for sure. But props to the hair and makeup team, which take care of me on set. It's always a little bit of a thing, you know. It's like, you have to really get somebody who knows how to do the curls, and then, you know, be able to teach somebody or kind of get your hands in there yourself and do it. It's just a lot of different products. I'm sure you know, Brianna.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Like,
The gel, the curl cream, the mousse, the whole thing.
And the different treatment of it. I always say, like, curly hair, and it's a mess today, but curly hair is like, it's material. It's like pottery. If you ever did pottery, or like, you have to, like, pay attention to how you touch it.
Right.
Because it's very reactive. So yeah, I've tried different methods too, but my favorite so far has been using a microfiber towel.
Okay. Okay. I will definitely get one of those.
Yes.
I've been doing the t-shirt thing, which is a little thick, and it takes so long to dry because the t-shirt's so thin. So, yeah. Okay, cool. Microfiber towel. I gotta get me one. Thank you.
I'm taking mental notes for Penny's hair if it ever starts to curl up.
There you go.
So last year you were featured in another Netflix show, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I believe it was about 5 episodes. Can you share your experience on that show?
It was great. They had a really wonderful and very generous production up in Vancouver. I mean, it's probably the most, what's the word? Integrated kind of production I've ever been on. Like, they were just such a family, and coming together to work and put out wonderful episodes. It was great. They really embraced us. They had, like, game nights for the new cast members to get to know the core cast members, and it was wonderful. It was a really nice experience. Kiernan, I always say, wow, she really does a wonderful, wonderful job of leading a whole production, like, beyond. So it was a really good learning experience, and I got to dance with a snake, a boa constrictor.
I've seen pictures of that.
about 35, 40 pounds. So yeah, I really had to step up to the plate on that one, but it was a beautiful experience, and thank God I'm not afraid of snakes.
I guess you
I was
channeling
about to
your
ask that.
inner Brittany a little bit there, right?
So totally, I was googling and watching all the snake dances on the internet.
Uh, Now, didn't they do something with your nails too for that character? Wasn't it kind of snake-like, I recall?
It was, and I know you're a detail-oriented person. I'm sure you saw on Cobra Kai there was one scene where I had really long nails, and that was because I was filming. I was going back and forth to balance the two. But yeah, they had actually they did something incredible. They took the shed snake skin of the snake I worked with and embedded it into my nails, into fake nails. Which was incredible, but also very frustrating because I'm not a nail person. So at first I was like, how do I take off my contacts? This is crazy. So a learning curve for sure, but it was also amazing, quite amazing. I felt like I had a weapon on me all the time.
Typing with acrylics is just pure hell because you're hitting the wrong keys all the time, and yeah. I get my nails done like once a year for when conventions are a thing. I'll get my nails done and then I'll go home and take them all off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sabrina, I do believe, is the only show that's ever been sued by the Church of Satan. So congratulations on that. And the bad news is you guys got canceled, didn't you?
Yeah, they did. I mean, I was just part of part 3, so it wasn't, it doesn't affect me too much. But yeah, they did. I guess that's just how it works out, and it's always working out for the best. That's what I say. So I'm sure, everybody's moving on to other productions.
And my husband watches that show and he's just floored because he watched Mad Men too. So he has literally watched her grow up since she was like 6 years old. And she's so good. Just like
She's so
amazing.
amazing, and all around amazing. It was a wonderful experience to be on a set with her because she just leads a set so well, and she's so young, and it's very beautiful to see.
She's got a hell of a career ahead of her. Absolutely.
It reminds me of like people watching Sholo on Parenthood, and see him
I did
grow
that.
to be.
He was so cute.
Yeah, yeah,
Victor is so
right,
adorable.
Victor. Yeah, very much like yeah.
I've just seen clips. I think I got to see a whole episode.
Oh, he's so good. He was so. It's like he was 8 or 9 at the time. I forget exactly how old he was, but it was like one of his first acting roles, and he is surrounded by like Dax Shepard, Bonnie Bedelia, all these Craig T. Nelson, huge, and he just fit right in. It was just like the most natural thing in the world. It was amazing. That kid's amazing. That Sholo's just
He
freaking
really is.
awesome.
He really is.
Hilarious too. I don't know if you saw, but we finally got to speak to him a few months ago.
Oh no, I didn't.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it was just it was September, so right before. Wait, no, no. At that time, seasons 1 and 2 had already gone to Netflix.
Yeah, it was a few weeks after seasons 1 and 2
right.
were out.
And
he was starting to surf the wave of teenage heartthrobdom. So there were a lot of like 14 and 15-year-old girls in the chat the night he was there. Yeah.
From all of Brazil, what was on in the chat, like we couldn't keep up, but also we couldn't like read any of it. We had Hayes Art, who's the Brazilian artist. He was trying to help translate for some of the Brazilian viewers during that. I thought that was pretty funny.
That's cool. Yeah, Brazil is a big Cobra Kai fan base for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I just there's a Peter fan that just found me from Brazil.
Oh my God, Peter.
Yeah, I was very flattered. Some of the things she said, and they have no filters apparently. But more on Vanessa here. Recently, I have not seen this yet, but just a few days ago, at the time of this recording, you were also on another Netflix show called Bonding.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what can you tell us about that show? Because I've seen some of your pictures lately of like your wardrobe and stuff. You look very fantastical, So yeah. Tell us about bonding.
Bonding was a really great experience to film. We shot it January 2020, so right before lockdown, in New York, and it's an amazing show because writer Doyle, who wrote it and directs, I think, all of the episodes, produces it. I mean, he does an amazing job. I think you'd really enjoy it, Peter. It's
Okay.
they're like 20-minute episodes, so you can binge it in a whole night. But he really takes such beautiful liberties with just being an artist and being a director. It's like I particularly enjoy seeing that when I see that the director's having fun with the medium of filmmaking. So he really does, and it's about his own experience, based on his own experience of being a bodyguard for his friend who was a dominatrix. So it has a really quirky tone, and my character kind of just comes in and, imparts some weird wisdom. But she's definitely a character who's still finding herself. I think, Brianna's like, goes back to Brianna's question. She would consider herself a spiritualist, this character, but she's also very lost. So it's nice to see he writes these characters which embody a lot of different aspects, a lot of polar opposites. So yeah, it's a quick watch. I would say watch it in one night, enjoy it.
That
Definitely
definitely
will.
sounds like one to watch. I'm
Yeah.
just sitting here trying to reconcile all those things in my mind and going, this has got to be like Sopranos level stuff, as far as the writing and the interweaving all the characters and everything. So
When
Yeah.
Vanessa Rubio thinks that you'll like it, I'm gonna watch it. I heard something about dominatrix. Sure, I'm interested.
you are such a dude.
Yes. Uh,
So other
yeah.
than the move to California and having COVID, how have you entertained yourself during lockdown? Have you been able to do any auditions, pick up any roles with the new self taping, which I guess casting directors are like thinking about just going to in the future?
Yeah, it's basically still a lot of self tapes. I did get to audition a lot in 2020, but I was also like I was going through the ups and downs of 2020, man. I remember I was like auditioning for the first time, self taping
Hmm.
after a long time, and just being like, how do I do this? Like, what am I even doing? It was interesting just to kind of hold my own hand and navigate with myself, all of those different emotions. But it's definitely settled out into more normalcy now, especially after I moved to LA. And yeah, it's just one of those things that actors do now. We just I actually have to order a ring light and have it here just in case. You just have to have your own setup.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah,
The way everything, like the whole mechanism, is just changing, and I guess Hollywood's rolling with the punches.
totally.
I'm just happy that a lot of shows, movies, even were able to kind of start back up on production. So we haven't obviously talked with like John, Josh, and Hayden in a while, but I know that they were working on Obliterated, and so like we haven't heard the status on that. And that was supposed to be set in Las Vegas, and the last I heard, Las Vegas wasn't doing too well either.
Mhm.
So
And they did
yeah,
get
hope
Plan B. John got Plan B completely
right.
filmed and ready to go, so that's coming out soon too.
Yeah.
So I think we can transition into Cobra Kai season 3. First off, what has been the reception like from the fans when that dropped for you?
Oh, it's been so incredible. Really, I'm wonderful. Just like, it's people love it and they don't, it's a genuine love, which is really nice. They like care for these characters, which tells me I'm doing my job right. We're doing our job right. So it's been wonderful. Just, and like I said, Brazil's really coming up. I think on my Instagram, like, I look at the metrics and it's like most of the followers are from the US. but then the next one is Brazil. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So it's kind of, it put it on this worldwide status, which has been great.
Hang on. I had a question and I lost it. Where did it go?
Where did it go?
Are you looking for it? Or
I got it. Okay. We're cutting that out in post. Anyway, so you started out, the show started out, of course, on YouTube. Peter since day one, me since day 3. I watched it on May 5th. So it was kind of this little big fish, small pond situation on YouTube, right? And those of us that watched it were devoted to it, trying to get other people to watch it. But the audience was still pretty small. With the move to Netflix, how does it feel to go from being on a show that gets, 80 million views in a year to one that gets 80 million views in a week?
Just that. It's kind of like whoa, but then I figured, I was like, these large numbers, my mind can't really compute it, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, it's just something that my mind is not meant to really wrap itself around, and it is what it is, so let me just let it go. But I try not to think about it too hard, because then it'll kind of freak me out, or I don't know, just give my mind something else to think about, and I'm like, oh, you don't need that. So it's been
biggest show in the world, you just don't think about it.
Yeah, I think for me, self-care wise, I'm like, yeah, let's not think about that. Let's just continue to do what we do, and it's beautiful. I mean, when you have a creative idea or this project, which is such a group effort, and it goes out into the world, and it just transforms in this way, you're just like, wow. You're kind of a fan too at that point.
I would imagine. Well, I don't know. We've heard different stories of how people are reacting to actors out on the street. Are you being recognized at all? I know with the mask, sometimes it kind of helps.
Yeah, I think, exactly that. 2020, I wasn't out too much. When I would get recognized here and there, but people were very respectful about it, and everybody still liked social distancing, so it's been pretty chill.
I think the last time you came on, you mentioned somebody messaged you, was like, "Oh, I saw you on the train," and you're like, "Why didn't you just say hi?" Or,
where are you?
Have you had any really odd interactions out in public lately?
No, actually, not too much, fortunately. Yeah.
That's good. What are you thinking about the amount of press that Netflix is having you guys do versus what YouTube did? It seems to be a whole hell of a lot more. YouTube kind of kept you guys contained, and Netflix is pushing you everywhere.
Yeah, Netflix has been, they have fantastic team, honestly, that kind of you feel taken care of and embraced by, and if you have any questions, there's people to ask. So they have a really kind of streamlined way about it, which makes it easier for you to do.
Oh, that's good. Because that the promotional art and things like that, that it just so above and beyond anything Netflix ever did, or YouTube ever did, rather.
Totally, and they have these beautiful kits that they send out with, jackets. They send me a jacket, and it was just they're really thoughtful and careful about it.
Is this a new jacket and not the one that got stolen and replaced?
Yes, Peter. I know, which somebody hand delivered to me. So I was like, I think this is good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
With you coming back for season 3 and seeing everybody again, what was it like coming back for the 3rd season?
You mean filming wise?
Yeah, filming wise, just to kind of see everybody again.
Amazing. It's always amazing. Season 3, I was toggling it with Sabrina, so I was kind of in and out. I wish I could have spent more time, being on set and kind of having fun more, but I really kind of wasn't. So I was just kind of in and out, and just doing what I had to do.
I was wondering about that because you had mentioned that. So you spent the last half of 2019 living in LA, flying back and forth from Vancouver to Atlanta for 4 months?
Well, at the end of 2019, I was living in New York still. So I was basically at that time living in Vancouver for Sabrina and then coming back to Atlanta to do Cobra Kai.
Oh my God, that's a lot of airplane rides.
Yeah, it was. It was. Well, I mean, fortunately, at the time, I had the energy to do it. It was pre, pandemic, so everybody was flying around fine.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, seeing everybody on set is always so nice. There's always a camaraderie because you're coming together making something awesome, so it's just a good time.
I know it's been a long time since filming for season 3 happened, but do you recall at all what the setup of the Diaz's house looked like when you were filming, like just kind of early on?
Oh, I love the Diaz house so much. It's so cute. The art direction on it is really nice and careful. And I always think I have to find who on set does the set design, because there's always books that are in the Diaz house and also on set, in the hospital room for season 3, that I was like, I think somebody left this book for me, In season 3 in the hospital room set, there was a book on forgiveness. And I was like, I think somebody left this book for Carmen, because in season 3, that was really kind of a big thing that she had to do. She had to forgive Johnny and work through that, kind of, I say walk her own talk, because she was the one who said show mercy, and she had to, decide whether to forgive him or not.
That scene at the end of season 2, the first time I watched it, I love Carmen. I adore Carmen. Johnny and Carmen are my OTP that are not yet together. Daniel and Amanda being I've got 2 OTPs. Daniel and Amanda are the ones that are together and need to stay that way, and Johnny and Carmen need to get that way. So when Carmen started going off on Johnny in the hospital, I'm screaming at the TV, "It's not his fault! It's not his fault!" And I was devastated at the end, because they'd come so close to getting together, and then they broke up before they were even dating, and it's oh no. So the whole break, I was messaging John, Josh, and Hayden with pictures of Carmen and Johnny going, fix this now.
Yeah, I mean, they do have a staying power, people want to see them together. And I think they're written in really just a lovely way, because they're kind of learning from each other, evolving on their own in order to kind of get to this place where they can be together. But I mean, Johnny has his issues, and Carmen definitely has she's overcoming her own internal issues, which I think are a little bit more quieter, than Johnny's. But the way that they come together and the way that they talk, I just love their dialogue together and their ability to understand each other and have those heart-to-heart conversations, which kind of, they're very organic. They kind of come out of nowhere. And I think it kind of maybe surprises them both, as characters.
Yeah, the first real the impetus for Johnny to turn his life around and start, drinking orange juice instead of beer. And he comes home from, a dinner across the courtyard with Carmen and suddenly decides he has to change his entire life. Yeah. So that was oh, okay, well, they're getting together. That's a thing. Yeah, I love that.
I like what you said about the book in the hospital. I wonder if we have a frame of that, book in the background or something, just to see. I remember when we were inside Johnny's apartment, one of his CDs was a Poison CD, and we're well, of course, because Johnny mentions Poison at one point, or maybe a Poison song is in the soundtrack.
Nothing But a Good Time is the first song that we hear over Johnny.
Yeah, see, so it was the attention to detail in some of those placements. With the Diaz's, like I was wondering, like if the gurney was already in there, or some table or whatever they had for Miguel, because I feel like Hayden wouldn't let us go into the Diaz's house because of what it was a hot set or something that it was ready to be filmed. And if we had seen like the table that Shola lays on, I think that would have spoiled it for us. But
Uh,
yeah, you're just kind of wondering there.
Yeah, he's been wondering that for a long time because he let us run all over Johnny's. Yeah,
I went into Johnny's
Peter made
bedroom.
himself at home in Johnny's chair with a 6-pack of Coors. So,
I did.
um, but then when it came time, we walked out thinking that we were going to go across the courtyard and go into apartment, 1, and we didn't. We just
yeah.
we walked out, and it's like, okay, why didn't we go into Miguel's apartment? But that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. And I have to say, I mean, me and Tears on this show are, no strangers. Um, so you and Rose actually were the first people I cried for
Aw.
when you were standing at Miguel's bed begging him to come back to you.
Yeah.
And you got me misty and like ugly crying, and then Rose with her jokes about the Dodgers got me laugh crying. So
Yeah.
what was that scene? Because Sholo was in it, but just laying there. So what was that
He
scene
did a
like?
fantastic
He
job laying
did.
there too,
He he,
Brianna.
he did
Yeah,
he did a
just
fantastic job of playing a near corpse. Um, but I mean, that scene is so emotional. Kind of, how difficult was that to get? Did you ever cry for Carmen while you were doing that?
Of course. Of course. I love my character so much. I really do. There's deep stuff going on there. Um, it's this kind of it wasn't too hard because I think by the time we did season 3, all of like the relationships and the circumstances I had built with her were already in place. So the relationship she has with Miguel, like that, who he is for her, is already in place. So it's just going into that circumstance of like he may be taken away from her, through this tragedy, that's enough. That's enough for me. Like I'm just like, gosh. Um, and then also kind of like later on in the season, kind of exploring the caretaking for sure. Like, I know I can personally relate to that. So I didn't want to sugarcoat that at all because it's part of the human experience. Sometimes we're pushed into those caretaking roles because we love so much, and that's something that we can all recognize, as humans. That's part of our journey. So I wanted to bring that to light in a truthful manner, and I hope that I did. I definitely had had doubts afterwards. I was like, oh God, did I overdo it? Did I share too much? But I think it came out in a nice way, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah, it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
love those moments with the Diaz's. We don't get it enough, but to be fair, Miguel was in a coma. Um, the last time you came on, you shared that I don't think you named anybody specifically, but you mentioned the writers came to you and said, "Hey, we incorporated this dream sequence," and you're like, "Huh, that's very funny." So in season 3, we go from season 2 dream to reality. But yeah, Carmen and Johnny, there, can you share like what your thoughts were? I don't know if you were told. Did you read it in a script? It was like, oh my God, Carmen and Johnny. Okay, like, yeah.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
In the beginning of the seasons, they kind of, give me the map of what's happening. And then, yeah, I was kind of like, I was like, oh man, like I have to be the instigator now. Like I have to march into the apartment. But it's just one of those things that you're just like, okay, I have to do this thing and I have to get, present in place with it and just have it happen. But I do love the way it was written, that it's kind of these echoes back to Johnny's dream, you know, where you're seeing it and you're like, oh, wait, oh, this is recognizable because, you know, because we saw it before in this, of course, like over steamed up, you know, 80s hairband video way, but then you see it replayed in more of a reality, which I think is pretty nice.
By the way, I know that they tried to shoot the car hood scene and it didn't like work well. So congratulations on perfectly recreating Tawny Katane on a kitchen table.
Thank you. A timing thing. They just didn't have enough time for it. So like, I wish we would have had time for it, right? That would have been so cool, but there just wasn't. So.
I actually thought that because my feeling on Johnny and Carmen has always been because Carmen has been in a toxic relationship and she could see the toxicity that Johnny still had in him. She was never going to actually get with him until she felt safe. So she had to be the instigator. And that poor man's television.
I know, right?
I was about to ask, like, I can't, I mean, did you guys get that on the first shot? I'm sure it was rigged to fall off. So can you talk about performing that sequence?
No, it wasn't. We had to do it a couple times, but it, you know, it's kind of one of those things that feels like a dance. Once you get like the movements down, then you're like, all right, we're gonna go into this dance. And it was just hilarious because, you know, there's basically somebody like, you know, back there with like a little trigger, like, psh. So they had to get the timing right with that. So once we did it a couple times, and then I think there was one take, which was the take that they used, where both me and Billy were like, that was it. We felt like that was the take. So it was fun, and I think I sustained my first Cobra Kai injury on it. I like injured my finger or something. And I was just like, oh, I got my first Cobra Kai injury. Cool.
Yeah, your battle scar, your battle wound, or yeah.
Your first filming injury, and it's from slamming Billy Zabka in a wall to kiss him.
I know. I'm like, that's good. I like that Carmen gets her injuries out, you know, in a steamy scene.
Look, loving Johnny is a rough job.
It's a rough job.
That's actually very true. Look at what she's been through already, and they're not even together yet.
That's a great line too, Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So, I have to ask, if you know the answer from season 4, do not like give it away, but
right.
I'm just curious what your thoughts are on how Carmen would have reacted if Johnny had been able to walk in and say, I'm ready, I love you, rather than being confronted with, you know, Miguel all beat to hell.
Oh, wow. Yeah, interesting, right?
Yeah.
They were supposed to talk about it. That's interesting. I think in that time and circumstances, she would have welcomed him with open arms. Totally. I think so.
That's good to hear.
Because I think so too.
He almost screwed up so badly, and I was yelling at him like the entirety of the season finale. No, stop, Carmen, and then he didn't kiss Allie, and he went home, and he's like, okay, that's it. I'm in love with this woman, and this is just going to happen. And
I know. So sweet, right?
Yes.
At that point, I mean, I'm watching it at home. I'm watching it like a fan, too. I'm like, no, go get it.
But me, Billy, me.
It's so weird. Oh, really, I love how the end of that season came together, and then you really saw like this drive in Johnny's character, which was really lovely to see.
I'm hoping that we get, because the restaurant scene in Pulpo in 209 was so fabulous, and Carmen and Amanda had this like instant silent connection, like the totally cooked up together without ever saying a word about it trip to the bathroom. So I'm really hoping that with Johnny and Daniel merging the dojos, that we get to see a lot more interaction between Carmen and Amanda next season, because I adore them together.
Yeah, me too. I adore that too.
Seeing Carmen go to work in that one episode. It made me feel some type of way, you know, because we're trying to think like what's processing in Johnny's mind. But as we get ready to wrap up, I do have one question. Did you get a chance to meet Elizabeth Shue, or was the scene of Carmen going to work, was that a little meta, and then you had to like fly and do like Sabrina or something like that?
Yeah, I didn't get to meet Elizabeth Shue. I would have loved to. And I, as a fan watching it, I was just like, oh my God, the three of them are together again. But no, that was shot. You know, we didn't have any scenes together. So for the purposes of like, you know, expediting everything and just filming wise, we didn't get to meet.
My last question is just kind of about the kind of behind the scenes, because I'm curious. Who would you consider of the kids the biggest like prankster of the kids?
Brianna, you cut off a few words there.
I did. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm curious because we've talked to, you know, so many of the kids. So from an adult perspective, which of the kids would you consider like the biggest prankster, jokester, the one that is cutting everybody else up most of the time?
You mean behind the scenes?
Yes.
Oh God. Probably Sholo. I don't know, probably Sholo, but I also work with Sholo the most, so I, you know that more. He's always making jokes, and he like pulls references from Adam. I'm like, how do you know all of these references? It's like way before your time. But he's hilarious. He really is. He's just a jokester.
Well, yeah, we had a blast speaking with him. It was all laughs. Him and Jake, all the kids. Even the pale friend, you know, is really funny.
pale friend Dimitri. I love that.
Yeah, it's my favorite line. I guess I can't use it when we review episode 2, but we'll see. Now, we mentioned bonding earlier in the episode. Is there anything else, Vanessa, that you like to promote that you can promote, or anything just for people to keep an eye out? Any upcoming interviews, anything like that?
I don't think so. No, nothing else. Yeah, no.
I'm
season 4 Cobra Kai.
I'm a little curious. I wanted to ask back at the beginning. I forgot. Are you still modeling, or have you moved away from that now that you're acting?
I've moved away from that. Well, I mean, I wouldn't turn down a modeling job. Sure, why not? But no, it's more acting now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I love your modeling photos. They're
thank
gorgeous.
You.
Yeah.
So do I.
That is a completely innocent look on his face.
I support everybody from the show, and I love to follow them on all their endeavors. So, you know, I'm here for all of it.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's what I'll say.
Grateful for you, Peter. You cover the show in such a wonderful way. So thank you
so much, Vanessa.
He's a fucking legend. That's what we call him around here. He's the fucking legend.
That's what Brianna calls me. I mean. But Vanessa, thank you so much for giving us your time, because we know you're in Atlanta, so we're gonna be patient and
no spoilers, Peter.
Okay, we won't be patient, and but anyway, we'll keep an eye on things, and we look forward to seeing Carmen if she returns.
Right, she's just hanging out in Atlanta to see friends. It's nothing. No, that doesn't mean a thing. Right. Thank you, Vanessa. It was wonderful to meet you.
Thank you, Brianna. It's nice talking with you guys. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.